waiting to call in.
Okay.
All right, so we're good to go.
Yes.
All right, I'll call to order the meeting of Thursday, October 21st, 2021 of the Oak Hills Park Authority. We will take a quick roll call of who's in attendance. I'll just go down the list here. Jennifer McAllister.
Here.
Rayanne Bromart.
Here.
Denise Brown.
Denise is muted.
Yep, Denise is here. Joe Andrasco. Carl Dickens. Alan Dutton.
Yep.
Bob Sheik. And TJ Trimboli. All right, so hopefully some folks will join a little bit late. Okay. So first, acceptance of the minutes. Does anybody have any comments?
Oh, I do. I have my comments.
All right.
This month I
Let 'em
actually,
fly.
yes, this month I actually do. On the regular meeting of September 16th, 2021, when we had the acceptance of the minutes from the August 19th regular meeting, it says page 3, paragraph 2, line 1, please change from, oh, I see, never mind, we skipped that one. On public comment, I wanted to say, address the authority, not board, because it's the wrong title. I think that was it for that set of minutes, so I'm fine with that set of minutes. Then on
Rand, I think you got muted somehow.
Somehow you lost your voice.
I blame Jim. Jim, did you do that?
And then on the ones for the special meeting, I would like the titles also by Joe Andrasco and Carl Dickens, since we have Mike DePalma's title. And then Alan Dutton's last name is spelt wrong in the attendance, and Jennifer McAllister's last name is spelt wrong in the attendance. And that was all I had for that set.
Catches. Does anybody else?
I do.
Okay.
I have it for September 16th meeting, page 4. It says just above the motion passed unanimously. Second line, involving Mr. Shell said that there would not be a problem. Is the path was still usable? I think it should be if the path is still usable or was still usable. I'm not sure if that is supposed to be there.
I would guess it's if, yeah. Said that there would be a problem if the path is, yeah, yep.
Yep, that's it. That and Alan and my name spelt wrong, but Rayanne is already on top of that one.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else? And just note for the minutes too, TJ Trimboli is here. He's in attendance. Welcome, TJ. Anyone like to pass the acceptance of the minutes? We could do them both together. So 9/16, 10/7 with the changes suggested.
So moved.
Second.
A second.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. And any abstentions? All right, both minutes passed unanimously. So I do know we have a couple of folks waiting from the public, so we'll open this up for public comments. Do we have anybody?
I don't see anyone from the public on.
All right.
Maybe they're having a problem. I don't know, but
let me just give them one more minute here.
yeah.
I don't see any emails coming through to me with any issues.
Yeah, it was, Peter.
On the phone, Mike?
I'm just going to call him if it's not too
Sure.
rude. I just want to make sure he gets his chance. So he's still having the same issues. So I don't know. So he gets nothing. He puts in the meeting ID and it's not getting acceptance in there. Is any thoughts on how to let him in? I know we'd had some issues with this in the past, so.
I'm just checking what's on the website to, he can only get in by phone, is that it?
Yeah, hold on, he's still talking.
Of an ID 1597. Hold on. Oh, I found the problem. No, one. The webinar ID is wrong for this meeting. One moment. Yeah, I don't know how. I keep doing that. And the link for the public is wrong also. So I'm going to change that.
All right, so I
Should we
think,
keep going and come back to this?
yeah, I think we might keep public comment open. If you could put the Zoom meeting and then the password into the chat, I'll email it to Peter so he can join. Is that all right? Just so we can get
The
moving.
website's been updated. If he just goes to the meetings page now, he'll be able to see it. But yeah, I
Okay.
can do that
Okay, thanks.
if you want.
Peter.
Time for the secretary. Just note that Joe Andrasco, treasurer, showed up a few minutes ago as well, please.
Hello. Go.
And it looks like Randy Avery is also on now as well.
Is Jim Shell on, do we know?
I am. I'm here.
Hey, Jim.
How are you? I should try this from my phone.
Okay, so he says he should be in now, and I think I do see an attendee, so if we can promote the,
I see someone named Andrea.
okay,
Andrea, if you'd like to speak, please unmute yourself.
I'm sorry, wait.
Yep,
This is actually Peter.
Okay.
okay,
You're sitting in front of the camera. I can see you.
No, you
all
should
right.
see you.
Oh. All right, I guess.
Oh, just state your name and then you have 3 minutes.
Go ahead.
Oh, Oh, hi, it's me?
Yep, you're on. You're live on the air.
Okay. Well, anyhow, I don't know how many of you know me or have heard of me, but I'm Peter Quiver, and I've been playing tennis at Oak Hills for over 20 years. And one of my biggest fears came true on September 10th when I was hit with a line drive off a tee at Oak Hills Tennis Golf Course without any warning at all. There was nothing, one of those four things or that you normally hear, nothing. It was just a blank shot in the head. I've reported this many times over the 20 years that balls are hitting the tennis courts and players. No action has been taken over the 20 plus years that I've been playing there. And in fact, I get callous remarks like, this is a golf course, so expect to see golf balls. I'm sorry, playing tennis, I'm not looking for golf balls hitting me or ducking them as they come across. So, I don't play golf, but if anybody does, I have probably over 200 golf balls in my bag from just collecting them from the courts. Since September 10th, I've undergone medical examinations and expenses, including a brain CAT scan to ensure that I didn't rule out any fracture or hematoma. I've had eye vision exams that I had to undergo with ecomyces, I don't know how they pronounce it, ecomycosis under my eyes and recurring vision and head issues. I guess I was lucky that I did not lose my eye, because an hour, 2 inches lower, I would have lost my eye, 2 inches to the right. Who knows? I mean, I could have had permanent brain injury. I guess I was a lucky one in that respect, but this never happened. It's been going on for 20 years with no recourse, no response from the people at the golf course, other than it's a golf course. So I have two questions, really. Number one, I was told that any golfer hitting over into the courts is banned. I don't know for how many years or whatever, but how many have been banned? I'd like that question answered. How many have been banned in the last 5, 10, 15 years? And also, has the player that hit me been banned? Because obviously he was driving over the courts because there was no like somebody would say, well, oh, I shot a bad shot and it went over, there was no sound at all other than hitting my head. And I guess the other question is, what action are you going to take that no other golf balls hit the tennis courts or injure any tennis player again? That is really my biggest concern, because I like the courts. Like I said, I've been playing there for over 20 years, but it's a dangerous place, and I got hit on court 2. I will never play on court 2 again.
We understood. I'm glad to hear you're feeling better. And we will be talking about it. We have the tennis update. We can talk about it, but I think it'll be part of an off-season kind of longer conversation. But again, the comments that were made about, this being a golf course and not a park, I think as a board, we've agreed, especially this new board, that, this is a park that includes golf and tennis and the nature portion of it. So I definitely want to make sure that is something that is changed in terms of what's public facing. So I definitely appreciate your time, Peter. I'm sorry that it took a while to get you on, but I'm glad you were able to come on and speak.
No, I just, like I said, I'm recovering, but, I just want to make sure, especially since there are many kids that are playing out there. And if this had happened to one of them, God forbid, it could have been a lot worse.
I completely agree. Okay. Well, thank you, Peter. Appreciate it. And
Okay.
we'll definitely get answers to those 3 questions. I just wrote them down. So probably won't get to the first 2 on this meeting, but I will dig into it and definitely let you guys know. Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. You got it. Thanks. Okay. Do we have anybody else from the public that would like to speak?
No, we don't.
Doesn't look like it. Okay. So public comment is closed. So let's dive into the committee reports on behalf of the Nature Committee. Larry Schwartz. Larry.
Hello, Mike.
Hey,
Are you guys hearing me okay?
Yep.
You're fine, Larry. How you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me on the agenda. And
course.
I have the report that I got from Audrey that I'd like to share. It said, forgive me, I'm in my car. I'll do the best I can. The first comment on our committee is regarding the meadow, and we're happy at the 1 year meadow so far is a success. It was planted in May. We've had assistance from Jim Shell, so thank you for that. There's a variety of native plants established, and we've had tours and follow-up that include the Norwalk Land Trust, the CTBET, and the Norwalk River Watershed Association. And we plan to seed and plant in the existing weeding perimeter areas in next year. Mark mentioned earlier, I don't know if everyone heard it, about the garden club. The Norwalk Garden Club came to the restaurant veranda, and Audrey gave a presentation to them regarding the area, and it was well received. They had about 30 plus people there. And I'd like to point out a number of the people in the Norwalk Garden Club are golfers, and they golf off at the course. So it's nice to have that involvement of all the aspects, not just the golf course, but also the nature area, and the interest of both. And Audrey handed out some brochures to them about the nature center, and she also gave them a tour. Another item she mentioned is we're having a light trail cleanup on Saturday at 11:30. So we welcome anyone who's willing to come and help. Do a light cleanup about an hour, 11:30 this Saturday morning. And then there's a daffodil event coming in the spring of next year. The Norwalk Garden Club and the city's health department and the Norwalker program are interested in a joint event, say in April, a daffodil festival at the Nature Center. And it will bring attention to the park. So we have a question: can this be a joint fundraiser? And what are the legalities around that? And can our committee, the Nature Committee, use assistance? We can use assistance with this, possibly through the supporters of the OHB fund. And lastly,
Okay.
yes.
Oh, no, I'm going to say I'm not 100% sure. I would definitely probably have to go through the supporters of Oak Hills, but I will get an answer to that. I just took a note.
Okay, great. And the last item we have is the supporters of Oak Hills Park recently funded 75 copies of a new 8-page color brochure about the nature center area. And supporters are also interested in funding Audubon-style birdhouses on poles for the meadow this spring. And the Nature Committee is also researching a solar pump to the fountain in the fountain garden. The committee expresses great thanks to the supporters for this support. That's the end of my report, and I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to present.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks, Larry. It was a little difficult to hear, so I'll just recap it quick. Brief update on the meadow. 1 year, everything is going well there. Garden Club had a 30+ person lunch at the restaurant, which was well received. Presentation literature was given out. There's going to be a trail cleanup 11:30 this Saturday, and they're looking to do a daffodil festival in the spring with some potential fundraising opportunities. So just in case anybody didn't hear it, that was the kind of synopsis. So thank you very much, Larry.
Thank you, Mike.
You got it. Have a good one. All right.
One thing quick. Oh, sorry, Mike, can I just jump in real quick?
Sure.
One thing too, Audrey had asked me to bring the pamphlet that she put together. It's a 4-page handout that Larry mentioned that the supporters funded. But as I get to later, I left my entire folder at home, including all my notes. So I had to recreate that, but I don't have the folder to show anybody. But if anybody's interested, I have a bunch of these, the handouts. I think you guys should see them. So I'll probably bring it to next month's meeting.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Mark.
Thank you.
All right, supporters of Oak Hills update. Jerry, how we doing?
Hello, everybody. I'm doing fine. How about you guys?
Good.
All right, Mark was good enough to give me the financial report up until the end of September. So I think the quickest way to show it is the 2021 activity so far to the general fund. In case you don't know, when people donate any money, they can specifically identify the fund they want to put it in, whether it's tennis or whether it's a general fund or the course, okay, or nature. So so far in the general fund, the donations come up to $1,340 net, okay, of anything spent. And putting that together with the beginning balance, there's a total of $3,803 in the general fund. The tennis fund, which is the most active, had $2,191 net dollars in there. Okay, with their opening balance, they have a total of $3,484. Right? The nature fund had a net activity after taking that $500 we were talking about for the brochure out of $20, and they have a deficit of $77 total. Okay, the course fund had an opening balance of $0, and the activity was $262. So that's a net total for all the funds of $3,813 that's come in during this year. And adding the beginning balance to that is we have $8,062 available. So that's my report.
Awesome. Good job. Anybody have any questions before we move on to tennis?
I'll just mention that Denise is going to tell everybody, I think, but at least the tennis fund will be going up shortly in the
Okay.
supporters. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Appreciate it, Jerry. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Okay, on to the tennis update with Denise Brown. Denise?
Hello, everybody. Yeah, so Jerry has, his update is fairly accurate. I think there's another 450 added to that, which probably came in just like a week ago. So it's probably not in the totals. And there will be, well, I should just hold off, but there should be some very good activity coming through, hopefully in the next, probably maybe by November. So it will be very positive. So we'll just hold off and I'll let you guys, well, you'll know all about it once we all can make sure that it's a definite go. So that's a good thing. And so the courts are still open. The tennis friends are still playing on the weekends, and actually they're still bringing in money. So that money will probably come in at the end of October. And what I would like to do, Jim, if it's okay with how everything's going to be going, is after October 31st, I'd kind of like to let it go and stay open a little bit longer if the weather permits and we don't get a frost, and play as long as we can into November. I don't know if that's a problem for you and your, how you usually take the nets down and stuff, but I know that as long as the weather holds up, we would like to continue playing until the end of November, or as much into November as possible. Is that something that?
Yeah,
can be
that's
done?
fine. I mean, that's usually what ends up happening anyway. So
Okay.
last year was a special year because of the drought, right? I think that there were some issues early in the or late in the fall, maybe mid-fall. I don't remember exactly, where we were shutting the courts down because we couldn't water them to take care of them properly. So shouldn't be a problem.
Are the courts still being watered like once or twice during the night?
You'll have to ask Giacomo if he's changing the clock again. I don't know. I'll go check on it tomorrow.
I think if anything, he's just maybe adding a little sprinkle here and there if he feels that the courts are dry, but I don't think, well, he wasn't supposed to change the overnight watering system, but we can check on that. And the youth program it's going. We have 5 kids. We've combined it into one group. And so that 450, which will show up next time we have the update on the tennis funds, is from the youth program. And so the kids would like to continue into December. It'll go week by week on that Sunday. And so that'll, as long as the weather holds out, that'll be a nice little program to continue as long as we can. So the kids are having a good time, and Giacomo is doing a good job. And it's nice, you know, we just had a little test program. So hopefully what I would like to do is kind of look at the program and figure out how we could really introduce something going forward next fall and start it much earlier. Probably talk about it over the winter, put something together so that we could launch it in July and have it run from September through the end of October. And we'll have, we'll have a list of more kids that I think we can tap into that we didn't have a very good list this year. So that will be something to look forward to. And well, you know, you heard about the golf balls, so that'll be an issue that we discuss for the winter and see how we can go moving forward. And one of the other things that has come up, and I spoke with Carl about it. So Kings Highway has developed a tennis website. I think I sent everybody an email like a month ago. So they developed a website that is called Oak Hills Tennis. And I had a meeting with Jeff because I wanted to bring this up because, you know, he's not Oak Hills Tennis, he's Kings Highway. So we sat down and we talked about it, and he got very upset. He said that, you know, he's had this website, he's had it for years, he's got the domain and all of that, and he's paid for it. And I said, you know, I understand that, Jeff, but you're not Oak Hills Tennis. I said, you're Kings Highway, you're doing business at Oak Hills for the summer. So him and I, you know, we kind of left it where we would discuss it more, but I told him that, you know, it doesn't seem legitimate that he should be calling himself and have a whole tennis website as Oak Hills Tennis. So that is something that we're going to have to kind of figure out how to deal with. I don't know if, you know, he'll change it. I mean, I asked him how he got permission for this, and he said that Art gave him permission. So unfortunately, we don't know if that's something that's happened. And I was thinking of going back and checking out old records to see if there was ever something that was approved in the past. And I don't think anybody in this committee probably is aware of anything, just because it happened probably maybe 7 or 8 years ago when Art was actually a member of Oak Hills. So, you know, I think that will just be something we need to discuss and figure out how we want to deal with it, especially if we want to launch our own program for the fall. Because now when you go to the website and you click on it, it directs you to Kings Highway. So, you know, we don't want that.
Right.
I don't know.
Denise, I drive by pretty much every day on the courts there, and I would say every day, especially on weekends, the courts are being used quite a lot, which is great, you know. Do we in September and October, do we get any revenue at all, or how does that work basically?
Well, the only revenue that's coming in at the moment is the money that is donated through the Friends of Tennis that come and they play. And the ones that don't have a pass, they pay $5 every time they come. Now, the money that's generated through the pass that is sold is solely to Kings Highway because they initiate the pass, they collect the money and they keep them.
Yeah, no, understood. So really kind of anybody could come on those courts in a way.
So right now, anybody can play.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking, can we tap into the pass? Can we put on an extra 10% and collect a little something? But I don't know if that's just going to be a little, I don't know if that's the way to go, but I don't think we can actually charge a pass for October or September and October. I'm not really sure how we can actually, you know, without getting the public upset, just, you know, have something coming back to us for the free use of the court.
Yeah. I think that obviously the people that passes should be able to play because they pay for it. But anybody apart from that, I don't know if it's a lot of people or not. But then again, you got to police it, and how do you have someone there to check and stuff? You know, I don't know. It's
The only
just
way
a-
you could do it is if we have somebody part-time,
Yep.
you know, at certain times that the courts are busy. For
Yeah.
like 4 hours here, 4 hours there, and that we would then say, okay, you know, you have to pay for the courts, and they would
Yeah.
pay for
But
the
I know,
courts.
especially on weekends, it's packed. It's great. I mean, especially
Right,
with the
and
weather
during
being
the
so
e-
nice, you know.
In the evenings, it's busy too. Mornings and
Yeah.
evenings. Daytime is not much activity, but you know, if you had somebody there from like 8 to 12, and then somebody come back from like 5 to whenever, you
Yeah.
would collect some fees.
Yeah, I think we could definitely, you broached that late in the summer. I think that's definitely something we could look into. My gut is saying if you've got a beach pass, you're able to play there for free, and then out of towners would have to pay to play. Something like that. I mean, we're not talking about a large amount of money, but you would want you don't want a bunch of people that are not Newark residents to come and take over the courts if it's open. That's only which should be
And we-
simple. They have the little things that go around and just drive by and see if you've got the pass in your car.
Right. Well, I don't think anybody actually carries their pass. I don't know, maybe they do. I mean, I got a pass,
much-
I never carry it. But
All right. Well, yeah, I think it's something we could definitely look at. So, and then, but
There's only
before I
one
talk
more
over you,
thing.
okay, go ahead. Yeah.
So I mean, I know that people walk their dogs all around the area of the courts. I know they actually walk them on the golf course too. But I got an email from a lady who said that they're walking them on the tennis courts. And they're actually, one lady was kind of taking her 2 dogs on the courts, and she closed the gates and she was training them. So she had some kind of training session with her 2 dogs, because, you know, they close up the gates and it's a nice, safe place for them to run. So I did go and put up signs that said, absolutely, dogs are not allowed on the tennis courts. So I don't know if that'll help, but, you know, I love dogs, but they definitely don't belong on the tennis courts. So
No. Yeah.
that's just one of the other little things that popped up.
No.
But basically, that's it. You know, I just have to figure out how to go forward and deal with Jeff and the website. I think that we should talk about that a little more.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
Yep. Yeah, we could chat, and then we'll have an update for next month, see if it's progress. The same thing with the update in terms of you know, the issue with the golf ball and the tennis players and all that. I think we had talked about it briefly last month, but I think maybe, I mean, ultimately, I just want to see what some sort of options are. So maybe I'll defer to you, Jim, if you could just, Jim and Paul, work together and see what kind of options they are. I mean, I was just thinking today in my car, like, why can we just put a camera there? A camera that would be then visual proof if somebody's doing it. Would that be a deterrence? And we don't have to discuss that now, but I'm thinking simple thing, you know.
The guy that spoke tonight,
Yeah.
he was approached by the golfer who apologized profusely, apparently, about the accident that happened. And, you know, the camera, I don't know how that's gonna stop.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm just throwing out ideas. I'm saying at
Yeah,
this
yeah,
point,
yeah.
we just,
Something to ponder.
yeah.
Hey,
And
hey,
then we
Mike,
gotta-
this is TJ. Can I just say something on that really quick?
Of
Sure.
course.
So I play a lot of golf, and obviously I'm there a lot, and you know, just playing with different guys and watching different people. Whether it's a tournament, like a scramble tournament that's happening, or just regular play, in all my years of playing there, I've never seen anyone purposely try to hit it over there. And I can tell you, I've seen many people snap hook one or hit a slice if they're lefty and hit it there.
Yep.
Right. So I don't think anybody, I mean, am I going to say that it's never happened where somebody's purposely trying to go over it? No, obviously. And there's a sign there that says it, but I don't think there's anybody that is purposely doing it. I really think that the only fix is to figure out how to reroute the golf course to hit away from the tennis court if possible. And so I don't know if that means, you know, bringing the tee maybe in a different spot, or making it a par 3. Like, I don't know, but I can't see any other way of how to fix it other than a total reroute of the golf course away from that. Because barring a huge net, that you can put up maybe on top of the fence. I can't see any way how that's not going to continue to happen.
Yeah, I'm just
And
thinking.
that's just
Yeah,
my sort of
it
opinion on
happens
it
by
from a
accident.
golfer perspective.
It happens by accident pretty much every time. I mean,
Right.
Yeah, but that being said, we should see what we can do. I mean, is a large net, feasible? I don't know. And I don't think we need to, I think that's a separate meeting that we should have about it. But I just think, got a lot of, we could all just brainstorm ideas, whether they're crazy or not, and then we could all review them and see what the best path forward is. Because I agree we can do better than this. So we'll figure that out.
Yeah. I mean, nobody
So
wants
anybody,
anybody to hurt,
especially TJ, Rayanne, you guys play a lot of golf. Love your feedback. Obviously, nobody more than Jim and Paul, because you guys know, we also, want to do what's feasible. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. Any ideas, we could start a fresh email thread and just bounce ideas off each other and hope, figure out what we're going to do over the off season. Does that sound good?
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
I think that's a
Yep.
good way to go.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Denise. So Don will not be here today. He's actually on an airplane right now. So he sent me his notes. So I will answer them as best. And I had a conversation with him, so I'm pretty well informed on it. First thing, the fire alarm panel should be, it's been ordered. It's on, like everything else, a little back order, but 1 to 2 weeks to receive. What happens is the panel has to go in first. And then once the panel's online, then we can see which systems are not working. Because right now it's either replace everything or we're going to have to replace the panel anyway. So the panel goes in. Once those actual alarms are identified as not working and not tying into the system, the vendor has the parts in place and can do that in a day to fix all of those. So really, we're just waiting on that panel. But once the panel goes live, that we'll find out exactly what the problems are, and that way we can get our code from the fire marshal. But that's,
So we don't know what the dollars are, because if you got no outlets that are any issues with it, there's nothing. But if there's 10 of them, there's going to be charging for 10, like, smoke heads and, stuff like that, duct detectors, etc. Right, Mike?
yeah. So he didn't put it in the notes, but I could tell you that the contract right now is for $3,800. That's to install the panel and then to identify so there will definitely be another charge based on
$800 for the panel, and then basically on a whichever unit is wrong, they'll have to replace those and see whatever the dollar amount is for each of those. Correct.
And the number he had originally told me to replace all of them was somewhere around the neighborhood of like $8,000.
Yeah.
Or you might know, somewhere around 8,000. So worst case, we have that. Should be less than that.
Yeah.
Did I describe that right, Mark? I know you've been. Sound good?
I believe so. Yeah, I actually had a question for Don on that too, because I wasn't sure what the $3,800 covered. But initial, as you said, about $8,000 was for everything.
Yeah.
So it looks like if we can get away for doing it for $3,800, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, there'll be something that'll be wrong, but it might be one unit instead of the whatever. So, but yeah, $3,800 for the installation of the panel itself, and then the testing of what's online. So,
and then once this gets installed, there will be a monthly or quarterly monitoring fee as well.
Okay. Yeah, I would assume.
Shouldn't be big, but
yeah.
There'll probably be a monthly maintenance, an annual maintenance fee. If something goes wrong, we don't want to pay when they come in. We should look at that as well, guys.
Yeah, this is not something I want to have to ever talk about again, or the fire alarms there. So yes, it's time to make the investment, do it right, get a contract, so that when we're all gone and there's a new board here, they could be handed, here it is, here's the fire alarm. All right, so that's that. There's two things that he just broadly said we might need to address in the off season: the heat issue in the old pro shop for the winter, or we're going to need to address the heat issue. Some staff complained last year and started again this year. So he asked if we should start getting quotes for a new boiler. So that'll take that, but that's one of the things you want to talk about. The other piece was an electrician. He needs to have an electrician come in to address the broken timer that turns on parking lot lights because it's very dangerous at night. Paul and Jim, have you noticed that?
Yeah, sometimes it works pretty good. Other times not at all. But when it's dark there, it's dark. So I think we have to.
Yep.
And
I know that there's a bunch of bulbs that have to be replaced, and all of the bulbs that are controlled by my shop. Well, there's only 3. all of those need to be replaced, and there's probably 4 over around the restaurant that need to be replaced. So I'm kind of waiting until there's empty parking lots / free time. And I'll ask the city to bring a bucket truck in. I'll go get a bunch of light bulbs and we'll do that like we did last year in one shot.
Okay.
But the timer's fine. I've actually just recently adjusted it. The directions are right there. It's kind of complicated, but if you have glasses that can magnify the small print and the directions, you can figure it out. It's working fine.
Okay. Cool. The other, so there's 2 other points. One was about the halfway house. He's assuming the closing of the halfway house for the season is his call, but let me know if that's something we need to discuss further. I don't think there's anything contractual in there that we need to keep the halfway house open. That being said, I want to, as a golfer, want to have that halfway house open. So I guess we'll have to look at that. I'll defer to you to there, Paul, about the pros and cons of keeping that open.
The issue with trying to keep the halfway house open is usually by Thanksgiving, I have to blow the pipes clear of water because there is no heat in that building.
Yeah.
So that shuts down the bathrooms and the sink in the service area, which essentially prevents them from operating.
All right. So he can stay open if he wants, essentially until the week before Thanksgiving. And if he
Well,
wants to,
That's roughly when we do that process.
All right.
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah, probably makes sense, I think.
probably makes sense anyway, on all parties. All right. And then, and then he also mentioned that, they had the women's event yesterday out in the patio. There's no more scheduled events. So we won't be scheduling any more events until everything with the alarm system, just out of a preponderance of caution there. So he just wanted to note that there's no additional events planned at this point. He didn't mention anything about the restaurant itself, the zoning text change. So far, so good. It's been moving along on track. It's gone through 2 layers of approval unanimously. So it's still chugging along. Everything goes to plan. November 4th will be the date of the actual hearing. So that's the only other piece I would think that he would have mentioned. So any questions you think I could answer? If not, we could take it offline with Don, but pretty straightforward report.
So Mike, I don't want to, Paul, I don't want to steal your thunder, but one of the things Paul and I are talking about, we will need, for the golf outings next year. I know Paul was talking to me. We're going to need 3 different levels of what type of golf outings where we can get some menus, because people are inquiring now for next year for golf outings, and obviously we'd like to cater them. In fact, we almost need to kind of say, yes, we are going to cater them. And I think if we have 3 different levels of pricing, one for a corporate affair, one for a not-for-profit, and one for in the middle, it'll be good. But I think Don needs to start working on those. And Paul, right? You agree?
Definitely agree. Yep.
I 100% agree as well. That
Yeah.
should be ready to rock soon. Definitely by the end of the year.
Because people are looking to book the dates now. We want to get in and say, and then we need to think about, do we, as a board, do we say, well, listen, if you have an outing here, then you have to utilize our food and beverage. Do we want to go that route? I think it's just a discussion, rather than, having them not bring their own stuff or, going elsewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know, just something I think we should talk about as we move further forward next year.
Definitely. Those type of things just need to be better defined. So one of the things coming out of the winter, coming into the spring, there's a bunch of things that I think need to be defined so that we could point to it. Here's the menu, here's this. All right, cool. So that'll go right into you, Paul, golf operations report.
Okay, thank you. So as we head into the fall and the days are getting shorter, Oak Hills Park Golf Course is doing very well, and we're continuing to see a busy tee sheet and an abundance of golfers compared to prior years. I will attribute that to lots of new golfers in the game, the ability to work from home, and the conditions of our greens. We are developing a great reputation as having some of the best public greens in the state, which will also rival many of the public courses in our area. And to give you a little bit of statistics, everybody loves statistics. For my POS, since 2018, we've seen a 27.2% increase in card fees. And since 2018, we've seen a 33.78 increase in green fees. So those are great numbers for the golf business. And we're up to about 42,891 rounds year to date right now, which really are great numbers. We had 8 days ago and our greens are very strong, really pleased and happy. That's why we're seeing a lot of golfers. Just haven't seen much of a diminish in play. A lot of that too, because the weather has been great. We've had 2 big outings since the last 30 days and 2 mini outings, and all went really well. We were really happy and excited to have our very busy mayor, Harry Rilling, attend the Norwalk Senior Center outing. We had to cancel 3 outings this year. They just had problems filling it. And we're finished this year with outings. We had 10 large outings year to date with 8 mini outings, all on a Monday except one of them. We generated about $85,000, and I think we can do a lot better in 2022 than that. As far as outings too, whenever I try to help book an outing, I always encourage our possible outing to use breakfast, lunch, dinner, heavy hors d'oeuvres at the turn, or heavy hors d'oeuvres, or maybe a barbecue at the turn. So we really encourage them to use that. And as of now, we have 11 outings confirmed for next year and 4 pending. And then to give a mention to some of our champions in the golf world this year at Oak Hills, Bobby Trimboli was our 2021 men's club champion. He won 3 years in a row now. Cindy Scope was our women's club champion. That might be her first championship. Our senior club championship winner was Gary Leeds. Our Governor's Cup champion was Alex Knopp and Troy Gilleret. Cullen McCarthy was our junior club champion, and he defended his 2021 title. Tishan Wu won her first girls junior club championship, and this year we had 49 junior golfers registered in our junior golf event. This year we had 28 women's golf events this year over a 24-week period. The Oak Hills Women's Golf Association continues to remain steady and strong, and our women's 9-hole group has increased a lot over the last 2 years nicely. This year we had 65 men's golf events over a 20-week period, so often having more than 1 golf per week. And years ago we had 100 men in Oak Hills Men's Golf Association. Probably 5 years ago we had 300. Presently we have 180, which is up 15% from last year. And I think those numbers are diminishing only because times are changing, family, things like that. We had 12 hole-in-ones this season, which was a good amount. And this year, more than ever before in my previous 9 years, and thanks to our teacher professional, Mike Rapisardi, who's been a tremendous help for me and all of us at Oak Hills. We really had a lot of junior golfers and new golfers this year. So Mike's been a great addition to Oak Hills, and he's fit in really well, and everybody loves him. Yeah, we also had our most popular year ever with our junior golf schools, and they're also designed for only intermediate and advanced junior golfers. Also, our Norwalk High School, Brian McMahon High School golf teams have had really good seasons, and they're getting better all the time. And we've given them full access to our golf course and outfitted them with some great uniforms this year. And Brian McMahon has 2 new coaches who've really done a tremendous with that team. You know, our 68 golf carts, they're brand new, and I'd like everyone to know they are running great and they still look brand new. Presently, we have 24 golf staff members, down from 30 in the peak summer. We have an employee staff event, an appreciation event scheduled for next Thursday, the 28th. I expect to have probably 20 to 24 of our members playing in that. And then I would say, lastly, I'd like to say that 2021 has been very popular for the year of golf, but it hasn't been easy, experiencing supply chain difficulties, challenges with hiring and staffing people. But now that it's October, our restaurant looks great. The food has been very good. I've heard from many patrons, they've been very happy with the quality of the food. And although it's been a little disappointment that we could not utilize our restaurant this summer, we're all anxiously awaiting and looking forward to 2022, where the world becomes a little more normal again. And our golf course will have 6 holes with brand new cart paths. And so I anticipate a great year for both our restaurant and our golf operation next year.
Awesome.
Oh, that's great. Restaurants open? I didn't know that.
Well, it's been open for
Private party.
unique private parties
Yep.
and not for daily.
Oh,
Yeah, no, the kitchen, none of that's been open, but
okay.
does anybody have any questions for Paul?
Just one quick one. Paul, you mentioned a Bobby Trimboli. Is that related, any relation to TJ, our new member?
Oh yeah, brothers.
We got the
Huh?
wrong one. We got the wrong Trimboli. We got the guy who's cutting the corner. I get it. All right. Thank you, Paul.
One, but there was
Appreciate
that sign there that says I can't hit it over the tennis courts.
Yeah, there you go. Awesome. All right. Thanks, Paul. Next up, course maintenance report with Jim Shell. Jim? Oh, I think you might be on mute, Jim.
Unmute.
You got to unmute, Jim.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries.
Course is doing well. I just want to report on a few things here. We've been doing a lot of little projects around the course, just trying to regrass some spots that have been forever crappy. We're doing a couple of drainage repairs and wet spots that have developed over the last couple of years. We find that when they built the irrigation system in 2000 or 99 or whatever year it was, they pull the pipe through the ground without knowing what's in the ground, and they cut right through drain pipes. So those drain pipes that are cut are now clogging up, and water doesn't go anywhere but up. So we see it on the surface, and we've had a couple of those so far. I talked to the paver. Well, actually, I played phone tag with the paver today. Hopefully he's going to come out tomorrow or Monday just to go over as like a final walkthrough before they move everything in and get started. So that should be starting up real soon. We're anxious for that to happen.
Got a date yet?
Sorry?
Did they give you a date?
No, they didn't give me a date. We were playing phone tag. Tomorrow he'll probably give me a date if I talk to him tomorrow. So right now the industry is, well, all green industries are experiencing a major grass seed shortage. I was telling Mark about it the other day. Just out of fear, I went and bought 5 20 or 50-pound bags of ryegrass seed for our tees. The price is double what it was this time last year. And because of the crop damage that they had from the weather out west this year, the price is probably going to more than double next year. So my thought is, well, all right, we have the money. I'm going to go and stock up on seed while I can. And I think I'll be buying it at essentially half price now, as opposed to next year. 5 bags, that'll get me to June on tees. If I get 5 more, then I'll get through most of the summer, and next year's crop will be available. So that's what I'm thinking on that. It has nothing to do with COVID. It's all weather related disease. And
excuse me, Jim, as you've, in your experience, do the prices of these things generally fluctuate down ever? I mean, is this just a good strategy every year?
Usually it's pretty stable, but when half the crop out west, they only grow the grass seed in Northern California, Oregon, and Washington. Pretty much. That's pretty much only where they grow the seed. And they had such horrible weather this year, they lost 50% of their crop to disease. And that's already starting to wreak havoc on the industry. Next year is going to be horrible.
Got it. Yeah, it's good. It's like seeing around a corner. It seems to make sense.
Right. So apparently the COVID shortages are happening with chemistries, and I got my order in on the 5th of October for next year's programs for treating greens, tees, fairways, and roughs. So hopefully we did see some price jumps because of COVID, but we're pretty much in line with where we need to be. So also in our capital projects list, there was $18,000 allotted for the kitchen in the stone house, my house. I've been trying to think of a way to get a bunch of stuff done in the kitchen at that price, but I can't figure out how to do a kitchen halfway. You know, if you get new cabinets, then the floor is going to be off. If you get new countertop, your cabinets still suck. They're falling apart. It's just there's kind of no way to half-ass it. I mean, it's a good thing that all my appliances are relatively new. That's kind of a cost that we don't have to spend, but I did get 3 prices for a full redesign instead of half-assing it. And the lowest one came in at like 26.4. And I just was looking at reviews of these people today, and most of them are pretty good. I mean, almost all of them are pretty good. So I got the last quote today, and I haven't had time to put it all together to present to you guys, but I'll do that before the next meeting so that we can discuss it if anybody has any questions. I was hoping that because we saved so much on cart paths that I could go over the $18,000 that was allotted. I'm trying to sneak it in here because I just can't figure out how to do the kitchen halfway. So
But we don't know what the true savings is on the cart paths, right? Because we don't know what the true implications could be based on timing of when they can start and when they can finish.
True, but again, he's assuring me that oh, we'll get it done, we'll get it done, we'll get it done.
Right, but then he hasn't returned any of your phone calls to
No,
confirm a date.
we did play phone tag today. I talked to him last week. So they're getting very close to being here on the property, starting their work. And I think I trust them. I think we'll be fine.
Okay. I don't trust anybody, but that's just me.
I normally don't either, but
Jim, once we got final numbers, once the job's done, in the savings there, we'll be in a much better position to say, yeah, go ahead.
I know.
You know what I'm trying to say?
I know.
It depends. Are you having granite? Are you having solid wood? I mean, what's all that good stuff. I'm sure it's very nice.
I think that the trick for me is to not tell my wife any of the savings we had on the cart paths.
Yeah.
Well, then let's just do it all right now.
Okay, I get it.
Got it.
I think you guys can relate.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, I just look at it like there is no savings on the car path until the project's done and we see where it comes out, but that's just how I think, but it doesn't mean that's the right thought process, but yeah.
Wholeheartedly agree. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree. But
Sorry there, Jim.
I can't win.
All right, does
That's
anybody
it.
have anything
That's all
else?
I got, unless anybody has any questions.
Course looks great. I play it twice a week. Doing a great job. Appreciate it.
Yeah, big improvement on there.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I hear nothing but good things. All right, thanks, Jim. Mark, with the financial report. I didn't even forget you this week. See that, Mark?
I appreciate that.
You got it, bud.
As the executive committee already knows, I had a personal family issue this month, so I lost a bit of time. So that's why I apologize. I don't have financials for you yet. I do have some very preliminary numbers that are going to change tomorrow, but only by probably a couple thousand. I haven't even reviewed these with Joe yet, so everything I'm saying is definitely preliminary. And on top of that, I guess my mind is really in the gutter or whatever, because I left, as I said at the beginning of this meeting, I left my folder at work with all of my notes and everything. So I try to recreate them. So I'm going to be looking at a Word document instead of the Zoom. So if anybody has any questions, just speak, because I won't be looking at you. It's also a good time to make faces at me if you want. So I'm going to switch over now to my Word document. So first of all, the FY21 audit report has been reviewed by the audit partner and QC, quality control. And Oak Hills will do a final review of it and hopefully finalize it in the next few days. Then we'll get our report. I can then pass it on to the bank and the city and so forth. Once that's done, also we will cut a check for the our annual 1% of FY21's annual golf revenues as our required additional repayment to the city for our debt. And then also coming up next month, I'm going to be meeting with our bank VP in November to renew our line of credit. And as a reminder, the line allows us to borrow up to $200,000 over the year, but must be paid down to $0 for at least 30 days before the next year's renewal. So we haven't had an issue with that at all. We have not had to borrow since we repaid the last bit of our loan in July of 2020. So it's been a year and a half, but it is very good to have this out there for what if. Going on to some of the preliminary financial numbers, I couldn't remember all the numbers, so you're going to get some generalizations here. Cash balance at September 30th, $611,000. And as of today, the bank balance was over $640,000. And that includes half of this week's payroll that hit already. So we're doing very well for this time of year. And other than last year, better than we have ever done ever. Actually, last year we were in the $300,000 range, maybe a little higher at this time. So we've never seen this money at this time of year. And also October begins the period of 6 months off for many of our commercial debt payments. That's all basically Jim's equipment that we finance. A lot of the payments are kind of double payments for 6 months, and then we have 6 months with no payments. So that's nice to come into a time now where we'll be having less bills to pay. And also depending on capital improvement timing, when a lot of the stuff is going to take place, our cash balance may remain relatively high until the CapEx payments hit, especially obviously cart path paving, which we do expect to start very soon. Revenue rounds and cart rounds, I don't have actual round numbers, but they are down compared to our budget year to date, but not too badly, just a little bit. So revenue is a little short, but our underage on expenses is higher compared to budget. So our net operating income is about $42,000 over budget, which is great. Now, I do need you to keep in mind what I've been mentioning the last couple of meetings, the cart lease flip from operating to capital lease, as previously discussed, which again results in a more favorable net operating income, but there is no lessening on cash needs. So if we remove that lease classification, we are actually $9,000 below budget in total. And that's important to keep in mind, especially with the items already discussed. Don brought up the potential boiler. Jim just brought up potential, improvements to the stone house. So we need to stick to budget numbers in order to fund our rather high capital expense budget this year. And for stuff that comes up, like I just mentioned, if we don't have the money to fund that, what's going to happen is we may potentially go over budget on CapEx spending. And if we come in under budget on our operating budget, it's going to have obviously there's only one thing that happens. Our bank balance will go down and we'll have a negative impact on our cash reserve. So just everyone keep that in mind as we go forward and discuss, whether it's operating or capital expenses going forward. And what we can do also, and I think what will happen is the staff and executive committee probably will meet at some point over the next month or two. I would like to recommend that and maybe revisit the capital improvement budget with some of the known adjustments that may have to occur, and we can figure out if we can push a couple of items, even if they're small items, until next year. That's what I would recommend. And lastly, we've made about $37,000 in debt repayments to the city of Norwalk for the first 3 months worth of rounds.
Awesome.
Does anybody have any questions?
So Mark, I deal with Don as we get 10% of food and beverage revenue, I believe, right? So we've had the halfway house open for X number of months, and he's done a few private parties. Have we received any money from him yet at all, or what's our deal as far as that's concerned?
That we receive payment from Dry Dock on a quarterly basis, So our first quarter, right? Well, I should start with our final quarter of FY21 ended on June 30th. The halfway house was only open for, call it 5 weeks. And yes, Don did pay that. And then we have we've had 3 months, the first 3 months, the first quarter, Don just paid just shy of $9,000.
Sorry,
That's for July,
dry dock
July,
paid that.
July, August,
Yes,
September.
I apologize. Joe is
Yes.
absolutely right.
Thank you so much. Bye.
So then for July, August, September, he paid us $9,000 then, right? So then he did about $90,000 worth of revenue then. And as far as, you know, is that a good number? Is it legit? Do we know? I mean, it's just conversation, obviously, because we need to make sure that the revenue is what he's booking, is because that's what, you know, we get 10% of that.
I think everyone is aware that with the main restaurant closed, revenue is not going to be as high for dry dock as well as for Oak Hills. So keeping that in mind, I think the numbers are actually very good considering it's really just coming from the halfway house as well as a couple of events that were held.
Yeah, can I say something? I
Sure.
think under the old contract, the total rent for the halfway house and the restaurant was like 4,500 or 4,800, Mark, I think around that number.
It definitely fluctuated since the time I've been
No,
here.
but I'm just saying in
4,000.
general, for the restaurant and the halfway house, the number was around that. So now to be getting 3,000 a month just from the halfway house, I think is very promising. That means that once the restaurant opens, that's the main operation. That I think should generate at least twice as much revenue, I would think, as the halfway house. So I think in general, like I get it, you know, the halfway house is busier right now because there's no restaurant. But for just the halfway house to generate 3,000 a month for us right now, I think is a very positive sign. That's it.
I do too.
Great.
Yep.
I can fill you in with a couple other numbers here that are fairly interesting.
Do it.
From 2021 to 2020, our card fees were up 1.51%, and green fees were only down 1.34%. So, you know, we're still going fairly strong compared to the great year we had last year.
Yeah, it's a good thing to point out because a lot of people were worried this was just a 1 year kind of aberration, but that's pretty good though.
Yeah, and as Paul and I have discussed before, without having the numbers at hand for me, like what Paul just said is absolutely true. And it's hard to, you know, we are definitely down compared to last year though, when I look at the actual financials, but it's looking at a pie in the sky year. When you compare to 2019 and 2018, 2017, we are most definitely doing a much better business.
Yep.
And we're also keeping a better handle on expenses, which we all know is very important as well.
You know what we had budgeted for the restaurant versus the 9,000?
Well, for the entire fiscal year, we had $60,000 budgeted,
Okay.
I believe.
Yeah, it was $60,000, which was netted 30,000 because 30 has to go.
That was assuming the restaurant would be open in like June or something.
Right.
Yeah, but there's still a chance to make that up, to be honest with you.
You optimist.
But that's averaging what? We were assuming it at June, so that's averaging it at 10,000 a month, and we made,
No, that's averaging 5,000 a month.
$5,000 a month.
It was 5, sorry.
Yeah. So, and we're at 3,000 without the restaurant.
Right.
So
without a bar. And that's where, you know, a lot of this comes from.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, we're all just, you know, I'm always optimistic. I'm a glass half full guy. I'm assuming that restaurant's going to get rocking and rolling. And
No, I think once the restaurant opens, regardless of the year, you're going to bring people in.
It's a really good sign. Still getting in 3,000 a month with the restaurant not open, because if we had a traditional agreement like we used to have, we would have had no money coming in, and we still would have had to do the repairs to the fire alarms and all that. So,
well, I know under the previous guy, when the pandemic happened and he had just a halfway house open, I think he was giving us $800 or $1,200 a month for it. I think at that time we actually had it broken down a little. So compared to that, I think we're getting 2-3 times more than before just for the halfway house.
Yes, Babar, you're absolutely right. But and I want to play devil's advocate a little bit here. I think people right now, if they know that the restaurant is closed and the only way they can get something to eat or drink is at the halfway house, there might be some slight cannibalization of that when the restaurant opens, and they know they don't have to get the beer right now, they can get a beer afterwards. So I do think numbers will possibly come down a little bit from the halfway house, but go up quite a bit for the main restaurant.
Oh yeah, the halfway house is not selling $20 entrees, $25 entrees. The restaurant will.
Right.
The restaurant will sell $15 glass of wine. I'm assuming the halfway house is not doing that. So I think everyone's making good points.
15.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I think I'm cautiously optimistic about where we'll be close to that 60,000.
Yes, that's a good place to be.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else have anything for Mark?
Well, I have a question about the restaurant.
Yep.
So are there activities going on in the restaurant right now?
No, they've all been put to a halt.
Was there some stuff going on?
You mean construction or like catered events?
No, like some private kind of parties or anything?
Yeah, so there were events that they weren't allowed, dry dock's not allowed to use the kitchen, the bar, everything had to be brought in. So there were events early on in the year because the building itself at the time had an occupancy. It was just the restaurant aspect of it. It was how it was explained to me. So there were events going on. Out of an abundance of caution now, there's not anything. There's been an official notice that there cannot be anybody in that building.
So all that'll wait until we finally get the CO.
So the sign off by fire marshal all through. Yep.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else? All right. Thank you guys for all the reports. There is no old business. And there is no new business that we have on here. Obviously, we have some items that we've been talking about throughout with the tennis courts and some of the other things that will be on new business next month. We got some kind of homework to do, but with that, that's the end of the agenda. Does anybody want to make a motion?
Well, you want to see this? Charles Brennan is in the attendees. You want to give him one chance to speak?
Yeah, I know he had issues. Yeah, I mean, Charles, if you're still there, you've been waiting patiently. I know you had issues early on. I just saw the email. So this
just to cover our bases that,
Yeah, no, I mean, as you saw at the beginning of the meeting, we tried our best.
The mayor's involved.
But
Yep.
yeah, well, I mean, it was like the 4th month in a row the link wasn't working.
Yeah, and we paused the meeting to start because of this. So we waited.
Yeah.
And so we did our best, but hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get this right sometime,
Yeah.
I just, basically, I mean, Paul and Jim have done great jobs with what they've had to work with. I mean, the golf course has been packed. I mean, anybody that's not making money in golf right now is doing something wrong because every course is full.
Mhm.
I know, I mean, the restaurant we'll see when it opens. I mean, I know they're making money up at the halfway house. They're making money and they're making money because a lot of their prices are overpriced. So we'll see what goes there. I mean, there's some of the stuff I'm not sure what Don's thinking about some of his prices up there with drinks and things like that. Things cost a lot more at the halfway house than they cost at dry dock. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that works, but we'll see. I mean, I hope everything works. I mean, the restaurant is a big thing for the golf course. I mean, until that restaurant is open, I mean, there's still people that don't want to come there because they can't get anything to eat or drink,
Yeah.
And
John,
we'll see what.
Al, this is Alan here. I've got some experience in running restaurants and clubs, stuff like that, and I agree 100%. Going to take a good long hard look at the pricing, especially etc. To see how it compares to other areas. And also when the restaurant opens, it can't just be, $15 glasses of wine. It's got to cater to a lot of different people. It's got to, you can have your chicken salad and your egg salad and stuff like that. So I will be keeping an eye.
I mean, I went to get a can of Fisher's Island lemonade at the halfway house, and it was $12 for one can. I mean, I could buy a 4-pack for $16, and I went to Little Pub the next day, and Little Pub had them for $6 a can. So it's like, yeah, you know, I don't know. Well, I mean, hopefully somebody will look at that. I mean, it's just, it's gonna drive people away. I mean, you know, or people are just, I mean, I don't know, people bring their own and just won't buy, you know? So, but I mean, I hope the thing works. I mean, I've been at Oak Hills for a long time. You know, I got my card the first year it opened. So I've been playing golf there a long time and seen it all different ways. So I'm hoping for the best. I know we'll see. I mean, I live by Dry Dock, and we go to Dry Dock once in a while, and Dry Dock isn't full like it used to be. Because I mean, their service, I mean, I don't know if Don's on, Dry Dock service basically stinks. And I'll say it to him too. I mean, once you get your meal, they forget about you. So I hope it's better. Yeah. We'll see. You know, it's been a big thing with everybody that plays up there. I mean, everybody, and there's people that are totally disgusted with the whole thing. So, I mean, I talked to a lot of people. I mean, you know, on the board of the men's association, and I mean, we talk to all different people, and they're a big thing with the golf course. I mean, the greens are great, you know, everything's great with the golf course, but it's the restaurant is what's gonna make or break us, I think, you know.
And I think we could all attest to that, because I get calls on it every day. So believe me, it is.
Well, I can assure you, Charles, that you've got a good restaurant manager, a nice, very nice young lady, and I've spoken to her. I've been doing this for 40 years.
Well, that's what I've heard.
Private clubs, so I'm very experienced, and I'm just gonna make sure it works out well.
Yeah.
I play golf, and I know a lot of the members, and I live around the corner, and I'm going to be all over it, to be very honest.
Yeah,
because I mean, Don's
I will be as well.
Yeah, I mean, Don's got a captive audience up in Silvermine.
Yep.
I mean, at Silvermine, it doesn't. He's the only game, and basically they have to spend their money because that's the way it works up there.
Yeah, no, I know it.
I just say something. I know Don's not here. I'm in the food business. Food cost is out of. I went in 2 days ago to my deli, and I ripped down the wall menus. I had to jack up. Food cost right now is all over the place. I think you're making good points. But I just to say that there's some of these food prices are it's unbelievable what's happening with some of the supply chain issues.
Barn, let me just jump, just because we kind of went out of order with this, and this is all really good feedback, but we can't really, the public comment can't be a discussion for like the rules. So you know, I appreciate it, and we can definitely, obviously, Charles, you've emailed me. You can email me, and you know, we'll get answers to some of this stuff.
I understand. So. I mean, you know,
but I let it because I know you've been waiting patiently, so I really appreciate the.
I've been waiting for 4 months.
I know. That's why I didn't want to. That's why I didn't want to say I let you go. So, but I appreciate it, and hopefully now, if you listen back, we definitely tried our best. So I'm glad that you're finally get on. So, all right, thank you.
Can I make a motion to adjourn?
Yes, any seconds?
Second.
All right. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody, very much. And we'll talk next month. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
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 Have a nice evening.